What's up, everybody? It's your boy JP, back again with another video. And this is basically a continuation of my Motorola extravaganza. Sorry it took me so long to bring this one here. This is the Moto G200. I actually had this phone a couple weeks before the Edge X30. But with all of the excitement, with being able to get a phone, that had the 2022 Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, Qualcomm flagship processor, while it was still in the year 2021. When I got the X30, the Edge X30, I had to, wanted to quickly drop that video. As many of y'all know, these aren't really reviews. These are just overviews. The right out of the box experience, but not really enough time to really give it a review. So I do want to reiterate that, that's one thing that Jay Will, if y'all watch his channel, that's one thing he says that, he says a lot, and I agree with him on that. You can't do a review on a phone in just a couple of days, let alone a day. A lot of times with these videos, I do post them within a day or two, but sometimes it takes me a couple weeks because I get busy with life, I get busy with work, etc. But I just wanted to rush out that video to the Edge X30. I just wanted to, it was so, monumental, that, of all people, me, I'm over here just dropping a video for the Edge X30 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and 2022 processor in 2021, and this phone right here was obviously also, a priority too. It was actually really funny when I actually got the Moto G200 right here, which is, while we're on the subject of processors, let's get that knocked out right quick before I go any further. This has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 Plus processor, with 8 gigs of RAM. This one does have the virtual memory expansion feature, but only up to 2 gigs. The Edge X30 had 3 gigs, so you can bring this up to 10 gigs. In other words, and of course, I know a lot of people think that's gimmicky and it doesn't really do anything they think. I think it does. I really like it for some reason. I don't know why this has 2 and that has 3. I don't know if it has to do with the software. This has Android 11 still. The Edge X30 has Android 12. I doubt its processor. I doubt it has anything to do with the processor. The Axon 30, not the Pro, just the regular Axon 30 has a Snapdragon 870, and you can bump that up all the way to 20 gigs because that has an 8 gig virtual memory feature, and you can get the phone with 12 gigs of physical RAM. But again, I won't stay on that subject very long. I know a lot of people don't really, believe in that right there, and I totally understand. But when I actually got this phone in particular, it was really weird, funny, I should say, because Flossie Carter dropped the video on the Moto G100 and said it was the most powerful Moto G, yet. And of course, this is definitely no jab at him. He was definitely late to the G100 because he actually got an international model because he got the Ready For dock that was included with the G100 overseas, whereas here in the U.S., it don't come with that, but it's been out in the U.S. since the G100 came out in the U.S. I think like in May or June, something like that. Somebody can correct me. That phone was actually released in China first. I had it on my channel, but in China it was known as it came out last January. It was the first Snapdragon 870 powered phone. It was the Motorola Edge S, if y'all remember. And of course, it didn't come with the Ready For dock, in China either, just as it did here in the U.S. But in the UK, it did. But it was just really funny because it's like it was the most powerful Moto G yet, but I was holding the most powerful Moto G by a long shot. Because Motorola just entirely just completely skipped the Snapdragon 888. They went from the 870 to the 888 Plus, and it's not just with the G series; it's with all of their phones. because even the top of the line Edge, which wasn't released here, we got the Edge 2021 with the Snapdragon, what is it, the 778G, but overseas they had a couple of different variants of the Edge 2021, known as the Edge 20 over there, and one of the Pro had the Snapdragon 870, but none of them had the 888. But this has the 888 Plus. It's a very compelling deal, honestly. It has 33-watt fast charging there. Got your included case, your reading material and SIM ejector tool. Your box there, let's see here. This just kind of gives you another little overview here. 108 megapixel camera. It is LCD, but it is 144 hertz. Full HD, HDR10 plus. So I mean, the performance is definitely class leading. Like it says at the top of the box right there. Oddly enough, if you're okay with the Chinese variant of the Edge X30 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, you can actually get that for cheaper because Giztop has that for $600. Well, actually, that's well. Then again, let me take that back because the Chinese version of this phone is the Edge S30. The global variant just happened to come out first. And, last year it was the other way around. The Edge S came out and then the G100 followed a couple months later in Europe and then a couple months after that in the US. Whereas with the Moto G200, this was actually out first and then it came out in China with the X30 known as the S30. So don't let these, pay attention. Don't let these letters and numbers, confuse you because it's easy. When Motorola introduced the Edge X30 for the Chinese market, they also introduced the Edge S30, which is this phone. It's just it's a Snapdragon 888 powered. It has the LCD, not the AMOLED like the X30 has. As you'd expect, it's a lower price phone. But oddly enough, let me rephrase what I was saying a moment ago. If you compare the global variant here, the Moto G200, against the Chinese X30 with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, you can actually get that for cheaper, for $600. This phone right here I've seen go between $600 and $700. I actually haven't seen it, for less than that, unless you get the Chinese variant, which came out later, the Edge S30 on Giztop. I'm not sure on the price, but if they sell the X30 for $600, pretty sure the S30 is no more than $600. It's probably $500 or below, I would imagine. These devices generally do go for cheaper in their respective markets, but when you get them in the U.S., you're not only taxed, like you would be on anything, you're taxed, of course, but you also pay what I call like an import tax. Even though there's no import fee on your receipt, you're buying it from a seller who's already kind of paid that import fee for you. And of course, they're going to double that because they need to make profit as well. They need to make it worthwhile. Because I think the phone's retail price in the UK, this phone right here, converted to USD, I think is $499, $500, I think. And the Chinese variants of these phones generally go for cheaper. They're just a bigger pain in the butt to get Google Play and stuff like that working generally. But so I mean, I imagine if it's $500 in the UK, then the S30 on Giztop's probably less than $500. I'd imagine, but don't hold me to that. Nonetheless, this is the global variant, so you don't have to worry about trying to pre-install or side-load any Google apps or anything like that. It's going to have Google Play out of the box, no hackery or nothing like that you have to do. Of course, if you watch my video to the X30, it's extremely simple. They have GMS built in. You just flick a switch, and then you use Motorola's app store to download the Play Store. I mean, it's easier than a Chinese Xiaomi phone, which those have gotten easy for, those are easier now. They made it hard for a little while back when that Redmi K40 gaming edition came out, and then they did an update to that where GMS was there with a flick of a switch, and made it even easier than it was even before they locked it out. So, of course, I've talked about that in many videos. I won't go too much into detail. But speaking about Xiaomi, I do have the Xiaomi 12 coming in. I do have that coming in, so I'll definitely be dropping a video to that, very, very soon. But yeah, I'm gonna give you a quick little rundown of this device here. It is Gorilla Glass 5 in the front, if I'm not mistaken. The rear as well. It might be Gorilla Glass 3 in the back. Oh wait, actually, correction. It's more like I like using Samsung's term, so y'all gonna have to excuse me. I know it's their term, but it's very fitting. This is what Samsung would call Glastic, where it has a matte glass feel and finish, but it's plastic. But it's really nice though. Actually, it doesn't just, not only does it look premium minus the fingerprints, it feels premium. It really does. They did a really good job kind of masking the fact that it's plastic. So I mean, don't it's even if you prefer glass, I don't, like I do. Like Fossey Carter says that a lot. He does as well. But this right here is actually just really. I mean, you're not. It feels almost just as premium. I mean, and for what you're getting, the price and everything, I mean, you really can't beat it. It is plastic sides here. You got your volume rocker and your power button with the fingerprint sensor integrated into it. Nice little camera set. I like how they do the camera setup on this phone right here. It does have a 5,000 milliamp battery, if I haven't already said that. It's a 16 megapixel front-facing camera there, which I think the X30 is as well. Of course, the X30 will at some point become, when it goes global, it'll be known as the Motorola Edge 30 Pro. But of course, this phone right here, the G200, I do expect this to come out in the US. Again, this is the UK variant. It doesn't come with the Ready For It dock like the G100 did in the UK. Which I don't expect it to. It has a way better processor for around the same price that they sell that one for, and that one sells close to this because it has that included. But obviously it is Ready For compatible, and Ready For actually works really good. I have tested it with a UPerfect X monitor, and works really well on this phone and the Edge X30. I mean, it really looks like a Windows laptop. The way that it comes up and the way I'm able to use it, I like it a lot actually. But gaming has been fantastic on this phone. Again, it is Snapdragon 888 Plus. It's now last year's flagship, last year's ultra premium flagship, I should say, because the 888 Plus didn't even come out until like August, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I think the first device with it was the ROG Phone 5S, or the first phone that I had with it was the Red Magic 6S Pro. But I can't remember if that came out before or after the ROG Phone 5S. But one of those was the first with it, and I could be wrong about that. But I know the Red Magic 6S Pro didn't come out until I think October, like early or mid-October. Because I remember when it came out, the Pixel 6 series, followed like 2 weeks later. So it was a big, busy time. That there's a reason why they called it Techtober. I know MKB HD, he, if I'm saying it right, I say his name so fast, I always feel like I'm getting something backwards in his name. He always calls October Techtober. And I've been saying that ever since I first heard him say it. I just thought that was very fitting. Of course, that was, it was, October was generally, a month after the Notes had just came out and the iPhones had just came out. Of course, there was no Note this year, but you get where I'm going at. But let's see. I think I missed the bottoms and tops here too. There is no micro SD expansion like I originally thought before I got this phone a couple months ago. I think it's been like a month and a half since I've had it now. But it is dual SIM. There's no headphone jack, but I do like the curvation that this phone has right here. It's really nice. I meant to say that a minute ago, but let's see. I'm trying to think if I missed anything here. This variant does have is the 8 gig variant, as I've already said. It has 128 gigs of internal storage. They call this, what do they call this color? Stellar Blue. Stellar Blue is what they call it. And the 5G. The 5G does actually work. It does work on AT&T. It doesn't, oddly enough, it doesn't work right out of the box like the X30, the Chinese X30 does. This is one of those phones that I talk about where I had to do a little trickery. I had to use that app what is it called here? The Force LTE. I have to use Force LTE and set 5G NR. it doesn't reset itself unless you reset the phone, which is a good thing to know. Because I do find that OnePlus phones that you have to force set 5G, after a day or two, it'll reset itself even though you haven't reset the phone. So just, something to remember there. And of course that's not even an international phone thing, because when I had the US Edge 2021, I had to do that on it. 5G only worked out of the box on T-Mobile. It was almost like they had to deal with T-Mobile, because some US OnePlus phones are like that too. Some US 5G enabled OnePlus phones are like that. I've had OnePlus phones, 5G OnePlus phones that didn't even have the bands for AT&T 5G. No matter what you did, it didn't work. I'm going to do a video on that, by the way, because I see a lot of Flossie's videos, for example, where he gets to these foreign phones like I do, and he says that 5G doesn't work. And it may be his service area, but I'm pretty sure he's trying to use them with AT&T. If I'm not mistaken, he may have T-Mobile as a primary or a secondary, but I'm pretty sure he tests these with AT&T as well. And then he may not just have. Well, no, I do know he has 5G up there because he's had Samsungs that have gotten 5G up there in New York. I'm in Louisiana, so we're worlds apart. But he's gotten foreign phones before, like Realme's and Xiaomi's, where some of them, the 5G works right out of the box without any hacking or force LTE app or whatever. And at least the phones did in my experience. And I think the last phone he did that needed to be, that you need to use an app was the Realme GT Neo 2. And yeah, that app, that phone, the 5G didn't work right out of the box. You had to do a little trickery. But it does work. And it's just, when I get my Xiaomi 12, I'm going to do a video to show y'all how. That's not going to be the best example because I haven't had a Xiaomi 5G phone in the past year and a half that hasn't worked on AT&T 5G right out of the box without doing anything to it. The last Xiaomi 5G enabled phone that I got that did not get 5G at all, no matter what I did, I remember it was in April-ish of 2020, and it was that Dimensity 820 powered. It was the Redmi, the Redmi 10X. The Redmi 10X. It had the Dimensity 820, and that was the last Xiaomi phone that I can remember. Last Xiaomi 5G phone where 5G didn't work here. Ever since then, every Xiaomi 5G phone I've gotten worked, Chinese or global, with or without the need of that app, that forced LTE. I can't remember exactly which ones did, which ones didn't. It wasn't necessarily Chinese ones that needed the app, whereas India versions and UK versions didn't need the app. It worked both ways. Some Chinese ones needed it, some Chinese didn't. Some other foreign country ones needed it, some didn't. It just it varied. Realme phones were like that too. Realme phones, I didn't start getting 5G in the US until this time last year. It was the I can't remember. It was the Oppo Reno 4 or 5, it was the Oppo Reno 4 or 5, whichever one had the Dimensity 1000 chipset. And that was the last 5G enabled Realme phone that didn't get 5G, here anyways. And it has nothing to do with Snapdragon or Dimensities either, because I had Snapdragon powered phones that didn't get 5G either, But nonetheless, this is the Moto G200 Snapdragon 888 Plus. And this phone, it works like, if you're here in the US, other than having to use that app, which I've had to do on US Motorola phones anyways, it's no different. It works like a US version. VoLTE works, voice over LTE. It has all of your carrier settings that you would have, like Wi-Fi calling if it's available to you. The IMEI on this phone is even recognized as a US phone. It's not. It doesn't. I'm pretty sure it won't get kicked off of Cricket, whereas the X30 would. Even though it may not actually, because it uses a similar IMEI too that starts with a 3. Those generally are very U.S. carrier friendly. It's when they start with a 9 that it gets a little tricky there. But as far as LT, as far as band N5 for 5G NR, it does work on AT&T. It does work on T-Mobile as well. On their bands. Volti works. Which I couldn't get working on the X30. But I have that issue with a lot of Chinese phones anyways. But again, this is not the Chinese variant. But yeah, man, hope y'all dig this here. Just kind of give y'all another rundown here. I'm sure this will get Android 12. I'm sure. It's too good of a phone not to. If this phone doesn't get, the fact, if this phone had Android 12, it would be an even better deal, because the X30 has it out of the box. And again, you can, depending on where you go, where you look, if you're okay with the Chinese variant or not, you can get a better deal on that phone. But, of course, when this phone starts hitting other markets like the U.S., I'm sure it'll be more price conscious as well. You'll probably be able to find deals for it on Amazon or Best Buy. Motorola generally is pretty good with launch deals between Best Buy and Amazon. But anyways, I do have one more video in my Motorola extravaganza. It is the Moto Watch 100. So y'all been on the lookout for that. I also have, speaking about watches, I also have the Redmi Watch 2 coming up, and the Amazfit GTR3 Pro. The Xiaomi 12 will be coming. I have a couple of handheld gaming devices too I want to do videos on. But anyways, y'all hit me up. Let me know what y'all think. And if y'all got questions, if I missed something, which I know I did, just let me know. If anyone's wondering what the camera looks like, this didn't need the updates that the X30 needed out of the box to which works phenomenally well now. Of course, I didn't get to experience I had an update out of the box on that other phone, and I've gotten another update since then. But this phone, I didn't get an update right out of the box. It's gotten 1 or 2 updates since then, but not right out of the box when I got it. But it worked fine. The camera works good for what it is. It's your 2 or 3 year old 108 megapixel sensor. It's not going to be anything to write home about, but it works great as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, y'all hit me up in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.